Hello, guys. This is the training about the method on Hotmart. It's available for the students there. And the name of the method is Método Orgânico Magoo. Magoo is kind of my last name. It's a nickname. And the method says orgânico. Orgânico is organic. Okay, so organic because it takes in consideration the person, okay, its own background, its own knowledge, its own, yes, it's self-paced, and yes, it doesn't push the student anywhere, just hold the student's hands to take the student to the next level, okay? So this is the approach of the method. Okay, so let me share with you my screen and the Hotmart platform, okay? Okay, and what I have already posted, uploaded to the students. And yes, so let's go there. Let me share the screen first. So this is the course. You see here, conversação. And there are 4 modules, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 17 classes, okay, for them. In the first module, they're going to learn about who is Anna and about the method itself, and some testimonies of students in China, and some prints of also testimonies of students. So it's about the methods in general. This is the pillars of the method. First, I show them the colmeia da aprendizagem e jornada do fluente. So, jornada do fluente is the journey of the fluent. It starts here with the swimmer, and as a swimmer, it's, yes, you compare the baby inside the mom's womb. That's how I named this level. So you still know, yes, you just know, the student does just know some basic expressions and basic vocabulary like colors or, yes, family members, things like this. Or what's your name, maybe, okay? So then the sleeper because after the baby born, it sleeps all the time, most of the time. So it still has difficulties for sure expressing, but it can understand some parts of a video going back and forth, and it can answer and understand some basic questions and basic expressions in English. The crawler is when the student knows how to express some of his ideas, understand part of a native speaker conversation, basic conversation, especially presentation, academic presentation. This student at the crawler level can easily understand because it's academic, so it's doesn't the person speaks not fast, speaks slowly and yes, in a more standardized way. And this is the walker. The walker can understand complex texts, can watch academic speeches, and doesn't get him or herself lost, can give his opinion without much preparation, but it doesn't have fear to express his ideas in public, the walker. And the flyer dominates a great range of and variety of words in English, expressions too, can connect ideas, different ideas, and can elaborate a project, a small project, can write texts and make academic speeches, okay? Can perform academic speeches. So this is the flyer, okay? So here we have the 5 steps of the journey of the fluent according to the MOM. Método orgânico Magoo. Okay, this is the hive, the learning hive. Okay, and here we have this green. Those are the pillars of the method. The method is based on these pillars. Breaking the myths. So this is this green here. And so I try to make the students be aware of the myths he or she believes that are blocking their learning process. Okay, so this is what I try to make. I'm going to show you the PPT after later on. And these are the similar words. I show them there are similar words in English and in Portuguese because they have kind of the same root. It's different. For example, Chinese and Portuguese, Chinese and English, the words are totally different. So it's much worse to try to learn from Chinese from English, but it's easy to learn, for example, Portuguese from English because they have similar words. This pink part here is about learning community, because learning community is much better than learning individually. In community, you have normal situations. People interact in a normal way, and they use English to communicate among themselves. And so it's much more interesting and stimulated to learn the language in a natural environment, like in a community, okay? Much better than in like maybe artificial way, like individually, trying to learn individually or speaking to yourself or just to one person, because maybe, yes, it's not so natural like in a community. So I have the example, for example, my kids, they came to China to visit me and to live with me for a while. And both of them, they didn't know English before they came here, but they could fastly learn English faster and better than Chinese, because even though we are in China, our community was and is about expats. So we are in a community of foreign people. So the common language among us is the English. So we use English to communicate. Also with the Chinese people, we use English to communicate with them. So this is this is my personal experience. So it's so much better it was so much better for my kids to learn English here because we are in a foreign community. Okay, and this blue one here is about we are bilingual. So in Brazil, there are many words that we use that are in English. In your work environment, for example, if you work in a company, a multinational company, many things are named in English, not in Portuguese, and we don't change this. It's like, for example, here, the difference between China and Brazil, or Chinese and Portuguese, is that in China, they changed the name of the big company like McDonald's, for example. It's called here in China, Maodolao. And KFC is totally different. I cannot even try to say the name, but in Brazil, you would call it KFC or McDonald's, the same as in the US. So we don't change the name in English in Brazil. So from English to Portuguese. So this is why I'm saying we are all bilinguals, because many words in our daily life, we use it in English, like internet. And here in China, there's another name for internet. They don't say internet. It's like hospital. In Portuguese, it's hospital. So it's a similar word. And yes, in many situations, we use English words. Yes. And in China, there's another totally different word. So that's why I'm saying that we are all bilinguals. And I convince the students that it's much easier to learn English than Chinese, for example, if you speak Portuguese. Jornada do Fluente is like I showed to you before, it's the journey of the fluent. And I explained those steps to the students. And learning by doing, I'm going to show to you the PPT about CLIL. And I'm saying here that nowadays the education is more about doing than memorizing or using repetition, especially in English. And learning by doing, or the methodology hands-on, they're all about practical learning instead of theoretical learning, okay, like, or technical learning, like learning English. So we are using English as a tool to not to achieve the content, but the content would be the goal, even though we are teaching English. So we are using the content to learn English, but using English as a tool to achieve the delivery of this content. Okay, so that was all about this chart. So as you can see here, second module, I told you all about this. 3, it's about how to improve your vocabulary, how to expand the vocabulary, and I try to help the students to do this through this communication, communication, basic vocabulary, similar words, similar word endings, and simple English. I'm going to show you this now. So basic vocabulary, it's this. You see, WH questions, colors, numbers, finally. So I go through this with the students. House parts, foods, drinks, countries, nationalities, jobs. This is very basic. Just go through, because maybe some students don't even remember these words. And maybe I make some questions and give them some answers. I still didn't record this, so this is just basic. I use it to use this similar chart with my students when they were when I had private students, basic level. Then which is the next one? Let me see here. Similar words. Oops. Similar words. Similarities. Okay, so then you see very similar. Acne, acne, acne. Album, no, album, album. Animal, animal. Area, area. So it just changes their cognates, right? So yes, I just go through this so they can be aware of all these words. Okay, from A to Z. Maybe in the future we can improve the way we deliver this content. But by now I just have like tables, and I'm gonna make a video about it. Then similar word endings. This is very interesting because also there are many words. Those are just examples. Like if the word ends in ty in Portuguese, dade, city, cidade, university, universidade, universidade, honesty, honestidade, honesty, honestidade, honesty. It's okay. Simplicity, simplicidade, velocity, velocidade, okay, and so on. Ente, positive, positivo, religious, religioso. Okay, so you see, John or Sean is são, possible, possível. So English and Portuguese are very similar. Dentist, dentista, television, televisão. Okay, so these are just things that can help the students to be aware. And the simple English, I liked it very much. It's about, it's a woman, a Japanese woman. She made, and I also share with the students, and I can share with you. The PPT is in Portuguese, but the video is in English, about how this woman, Yukiko Nakayama, she created this method, simple English, because she was a translator first. She's Japanese, and then she turned into be a teacher, because she found out that if you make it simple, you can speak more. Yes. Use less words, okay? So I'm going to send in the group the video so you can enjoy this. It's good also for you while you're teaching, to try to help students to make it simple. The objective of this method is to communicate, to learn, and to make your confidence stronger, right? And I think this is my go-to here, our goal. So instead of using I am an English teacher, you could say I teach English using the verb. I belong to a soccer team. You could have said I play soccer. It's difficult for me to speak in front of many people. Instead of saying all this, you can just say, I cannot speak in front of many people. The number of natives is greater than the number of non-natives. Instead of saying this, there are more natives than non-natives, for example. So make it simple, make it shorter. And use active voice. In Portuguese, we never use passive voice, when we structure our sentences. So, yes, let's just keep doing this, this way, because people will understand what the students are saying. Instead of, I use active much more than passive. So maybe you're not aware, but I think this is good for you to know, right? I got my salary paid today. I received my salary today. Okay? My homework was done by me. Yesterday, I did my homework yesterday. Okay, so make it just simple. Yes, after you manage to speak fluently using simple structures and simple English, maybe then you go to the advanced level and you start studying more the grammar and practicing other structures. And yes, but by that time you are already fluent. So this is the goal. Fale economicamente, speak economically. Yes, and then you get more confident. If you get more confident, you can speak more. If you speak more, you will get better. Yes, you can improve. So this is the goal. I think she's very smart. I always use this, but I recognize she organized it very well. So let me see here. So we finished with module 3. Then module 4, it's about, it's about, again, talking about specific policies and things of the course. So that was all about the platform, the course that is recorded on Hotmart. It's a bonus for the students. So the first thing they will be doing is to assess this platform, this course, and then at the same time they will start coming to the classes. Okay. By now we still don't have any students, but as soon as we have, I will notify you. Okay. Okay, that's all by now. Thank you. So, oops. I'm going to share now with you 3 PPTs that belong to the training, the bonus course that is on Hotmart. The first one, this is about communication, and I think great part is in English. So here I teach them how about communication. Maybe most of the people, they're not aware, they don't know anything about communication. So, and English is about communication, right? So I'm going to share with them and with you what I am teaching them in this course, in this specific course about presentation. So here there is a quote about, no, it's a Holmes report. Companies with effective communication strategies have 47% higher returns to shareholders, more engaged employees, and less employee turnover. So communication is key in general, right? And if someone works in a multinational, it's very important. It's strategic to speak good English and to be able to communicate in English well. This is Yuval Harari. he's a historian guy, philosopher, yes. And he explains in his book, that speaking and gossiping made the sapiens more cooperative and organized. Communication has been the key of our evolution. So communication is the structure of our development. And Elon Musk, on the other hand, says that small companies count on the expertise of the employees. So productivity grows. When they are small, they count on the expertise of the employees. So as productivity grows fast, and productivity grows fast because of labor specialization. But when companies get bigger, productivity declines due to communication issues. Yes, and I know very well that because, yes, well, I live in China, and I also worked here in a company as an English teacher, and I stayed in this company teaching the employees for 1 year, a bit more than 1 year. Because of COVID, they stopped the program, and we didn't get back since then. It's okay. So then I've noticed that they have big problems of communication. It's not just because of English, but also because of their culture. So usually they don't give feedback, and also they don't ask too many questions if they have doubts about what to do. So I also work in university, so it's like an organizational environment. So I know very well how bad it is and how unproductive it is. So yes, types of communication: oral, written, and visual. Okay, we just define it. Then I take them to this chart that I like it very much, because if you have an idea, you are the sender of this idea. You want to share with someone that's going to receive your message, right? You have a message to send to this person. So you need to master some skills, and also to elaborate well your idea, and to use a channel. And English is just a channel, right, to deliver this message. So this is what I basically tell them here, and what is necessary to make a good speech or a presentation, or yes, communication. You need confidence. So here I put confidence in the middle, because I consider that confidence is everything. You need to organize well. You need to research, to find good content, to share a good idea, right? So then you can catch the attention of your audience. You can deliver something that is going to be useful for someone. And then you have to also use some skills, some performance skills, in order to keep the attention and involve your audience, your receivers. And you have to find good sources and organize well your presentation, or the way you're going to deliver this message to your receivers. Okay, this is basically what I say to them. What is confidence? Confidence means feeling sure about yourself and your abilities, not in an arrogant way, but in a realistic way. It isn't about feeling superior. Feel safe rather than unsafe. Free rather than contained. Yes, confidence is everything. So once you feel confident, the words will come to your mind, and You will find the structures, you will find the expressions, and you will be willing to just to deliver whatever you have inside of you, your idea in your mind. But if you focus on the grammar or the language itself, you lose you lose the reason why you are there communicating. And this is what we don't want our students to do. So they need to focus on the content, find good ideas, things that you are willing to share, and people are willing to learn, and you can see through their eyes that they are yes, they are receiving. It's useful for them. They have interest. Their eyes are open and shining bright to listen to whatever you have to say. It's because you feel confident about what you're saying. I mean, the idea. So then, how you're going to do this? Is it? It's important, yes, but maybe most of the people know enough to just play with these tools, the vocabularies, expressions, and so on. And this is, yes, I just explained. So one by one, defining and giving examples to them. So here I teach them how to research. Usually people, and this is something that I want you to be aware also, because it's important in order to find good ideas and to share your ideas. If it's not a cooking class, for example, if you want to share some information about IT or about history or about social topics or I don't know, whatever, that yes, that is not just like craft or grammar class or cooking class. If it's about some interesting news, some news, also you should, the students should research well by doing this. I advise them to do this. Open tabs, okay? Because usually the students, they just open one tab and then they get part of a paragraph, they copy this and they start memorizing. This is what they do here in China. I'm not sure if you're going to teach Chinese students or Brazilian students by now. So if you teach Brazilian students, I'm not sure about them, but most of them will do something like this. If you teach Chinese, I'm sure they're going to get a part of a paragraph and they're going to memorize and just, yes, like recite it. That's what they do in my class. So I advise them to open tabs, many tabs, and to take notes. Don't write text. Write notes to when you make the presentation. Don't write text. Just take notes and don't memorize. Then I explain to them about the two types of memories that we have. We have long-term memory and short-term memory. You could also search about it in order to have more elements to, yes, bring up again this to the students. If you store something in your short-term memory, yes, because your brains deleted this information because the information is not important. Because our brains cannot store everything we see, we experience every day. The sounds, the words, the colors, the tastes, everything. So our brains delete what is not important. And then, for example, if I get a Uber, I order the Uber, and then once it's about to reach me, I memorize the plate, the plate number, and then once it's close to me, I immediately know it's my car. So I enter the car. After I enter, I forget the number. So I advise them and explain to them not to study like this. For example, even if they're studying for the university or whatever, or maybe grammar, English grammar, they should not do like this. Most of the students, they study the day before the exam, and then they forget everything after the exam, because our brains, yes, just delete whatever is unnecessary, because it cannot store everything. And the long-term memory is something that keeps in your mind. You memorize because it's important. So it's something that first gives you some emotional feelings. Yes, something that surprised you negatively or positively. Also, it's something that repeated, yes, for a certain period of time, and then enough times for you to keep it, for your brains to store it. So when we learn English or anything that we want to keep this information in our minds, we should do it first, involving interest and emotions. Second, we should repeat it. Yes, some with regular frequency. Yes, so it keeps in our mind, okay, in our brains. So if you make that type of research and you find one information, copy the paragraph, this is what you know about the subject. There's just one little spot here. This is what you know. When you open many tabs like here, that you've searched a lot, you start searching and then you open another tab because you have doubts about what was written in that text, two paragraphs, one paragraph. So then you start opening tabs in order to find out. And then this is what you will know about the subject. You know, you have many spots that you still didn't connect, but after a while, you see that everything is connected. And finally, this in red is what you know about the topic. Okay, so this would be the outcome of a good research. This is for the writing, main idea, content, connecting ideas, supporting ideas, and references. This is how you can make a good presentation. And about the performance, I highlight the eye contact, body language, tone of voice, vocabulary. And here I mention rapport. It's a French word but it means like empathy that you create when you try to communicate. You need to create some rapport or empathy, so people will pay attention on what you're saying. Yes, those are the benefits. Also generates confidence and brings satisfaction, enjoyment, and makes the dialogue easy. Okay, this is what people say about rapport. And this is also about storytelling. You've heard, I'm sure, yes, that people should add some storytelling to their presentation or when they share their ideas. So we must advise and observe if our students are doing this, because all this enriches their communication skills, and English is also about communication skills, okay? Okay, so that was all about communication. I want to share with you the myths about related to learning English in Brazil. Some of them, yes, most of them are the same in China. English, in order to learn English, you need to study English. I always avoid, yes, teach my students that it's not about studying, it's about practicing language. Language is something that you practice. You don't go to the books it's not just technical, okay? It's more like practical subject. Yes, they think that if in order to be fluent, they need to sound like a native, and this is not true. There's so many different accents, and yeah. Or maybe when in Brazil, when you say native, they think about British or American. Yes. Yeah. So you just need to be aware. But here in China, I think they accept more different accents. But in Brazil, they are really resistant. They think that in order to be fluent, they need to live in the country. And this is not true. I've been living here in China for 8 years. I still don't know a word. I'm lying. I know very few words, but I'm not fluent. So far to be fluent. They think that repetition, memorization, and grammar are good practices. Yes, they are, but they're not enough to make the student fluent. They like to memorize dialogues, not because of the books, you know. The books promote this, memorizing dialogues in order to be able to speak. When it's a real situation, it's not going to happen exactly like the dialogue. So sometimes it's not a good practice. They think it takes years and years and decades to learn English, and it's not so long. I mean, it doesn't demand such a long time. My kids, for example, my son learned English in 6 months, maybe, yeah, maybe less. Okay, so then another thing is that they, as I said, they think that just Americans and British, they speak English, and this is not true. We all know there are people all over the world that speak English with different accents, and they are also very fluent. They think that to be fluent, in order to be fluent, you need to speak fast. Yes, I met many people, not just Brazilians, that they think that you should speak fast. That shows that you are that you are fluent, that you are confident with the language. Also, that hides people that they maybe sometimes they don't know some words, or they make some mistakes, so it hides their mistakes. Yes, but I think this is not a good technique because it can spoil your communication. Yeah, you need to have you need to speak in a pace, good pace that other people can understand you. And this is good communication. If you smash the words, you just will chew the words in your mouth to, to show or to give the appearance that you speak very good English, that you're fluent, but nobody can understand you easily and has all the time to interrupt and ask you, I'm sorry, or make it like silly face, like, what are you talking about? And smile, but actually not understanding anything you're saying. So this is not good. This is very bad communication. They think, yes, you need to have not Brazilian, American or British accent, and this is also not true. English doesn't belong to British or Americans. English is an international language, belongs to everybody. We can speak it in our way with our own accents. This is something that you need to be aware. Brazilians, someone created some years ago that now you must think in English in order to speak English. And this is not true. People that speak two bilingual or multilingual, speak more languages, they put in our brains all these words and expressions for both languages. They are in the same reservoir, and people use according to their needs. If you want to make a sentence in English, if you are talking to someone that speaks English, yes, and sometimes you cannot find the word in English, you use Spanish. Bilinguals do this all the time. So this is what, let me use this. This is a lie that someone created many years ago, and people believe it, and it's not true. For example, myself, Portuguese is my first language. I've never lived for a long time when I was a child in a country that speaks English. So it's my second language. I cannot think in English. I think in Portuguese, and then I find the words in English in order to communicate with someone that speaks English, the expressions. So the more you practice, the faster you get to find these words and expressions so you can communicate with this person that speaks English, for example. So this is what we have to keep in mind. Learn more about it. It's neuroscience, it's linguistics, and they're researching more and more, and they found out that this is translanguaging. It's switching code. We switch code from one language to the other, but in fact, you don't think in another language. Only if you are bilingual since you are a kid, a small kid, your mother and your father, you can speak both languages all the time, then maybe, yes, you can think in that language. But if you're not, since you're a child, if you had to learn, it's your second language, you will not think in that language. You will think in your own language. Okay, João Santana here. He's a coach, football coach, and he was the coach of the Brazilian team, and he worked abroad. And unfortunately, he was not liking one interview. He was explaining in English to a foreign journalist, reporter, and he was talking to this person in English, and he was mixing Portuguese and English, but in a funny way. So people created many memes, and he's a symbol of how to be silly speaking English, or how silly you can look and sound. And so everybody avoids to be like João Santana. But I think he was very smart, because he made himself international. He speaks English, but yes, sometimes he makes mistakes. He doesn't have a good communication, but that's okay. He could live abroad in many different countries. He made money doing it using English. So I think he's smart. He didn't care about about it. So, yes, so this is a quote in Chinese, uma longa viagem começa com um passo. Yes, a long journey starts with one step, yes, at a time, the first step. Okay, so this was about the second PPT I wanted to share with you, and then I want to share the last one. This is about CLIL, and CLIL is content language integrated learning. I don't know what, technically speaking, I'm not so aware about it. I know it's not new, okay? Must have like 20 years, this method. But they researched it and they found out that through the content, it's easier to teach the language, okay? Two guys researched it and they, I think, two men researched it and they found out that I cannot remember his name or their names, but they found that, and this is what schools, bilingual schools are using, teaching the language through content. It's much easier for the students to live the language, to live this opportunity and practice the language. But training centers, majority of them don't use this. They focus on the grammar, on the language, and this screwed up people's lives, because in Brazil, is the country that has the highest number of training centers in the world, and this was not enough to make Brazilians bilinguals. So it's not a good thing to do, to focus on the grammar. So we are, with my method and this CLIL and other methods, we are going to use English as a tool, just a tool, focusing on the content, but finally we are practicing the language, okay, using the language. And through practical experiences, the fluency will come in a natural way. Those are also methodologies that use content as a tool to practice the language, hands-on, learning by doing. And the Cultura Maker, it's a lab in Brazil we use in schools, bilingual schools. And I don't want to be technical. Yes. So the student is the main thing in the class, is the main character. The teacher is only the mediator. It's only the mentor that helps the students to level up their English and their knowledge. It brings more engagement to the classes and more cultural awareness, and prepares students professionally and academically. This is amazing method. I've been practicing it for 8 years here, and I confess that it's the best thing. I've been teaching for 25 years, the best thing to see results in the students' lives, not just English. communication, knowledge, confidence, many things you can add to the students using this practical method, not grammar, okay? So this is what I would like to share with you, and see you in the next video, okay? Bye-bye.
Okay, so hi guys. The last things I would like to talk to you is about some policies and yes, some explanations about our roles. My role as your coordinator, maybe, is to help you, okay? To help you um, uh, to internalize the method, okay? It's not just by teaching you like I did through PPTs or whatever, but it's a daily process. I will be with you, okay? Another thing is about your role, as I think I told almost all of you about being a mentor or a mediator in the dialogues and mediating the time you give to each student to speak and motivating them to speak as much as they can. Also correcting them, but not too much. As I told you, I'm just reinforcing and leaving this recorded for you so we can all have a place to go back in case we have any doubts. About being late, you cannot be late for the class, okay? And you cannot miss a class, even though I know we are human beings, we have maybe some urgencies. Try to advise me as soon as possible, as early as possible, because then I can replace you, or I can find someone to replace you during your class, okay? You have a fixed you will have a fixed schedule, and by now, as far as I understand, even if you don't have any students, I think you deserve the whole payment, or at least half of the payment. We're gonna talk about this later on, okay? I agreed with some students, and now I'm agreeing with you all, that if I hire you, if I invite you to join us, I must give you at least 3 classes per week. It means like 12 classes per month at least, okay? This is the minimum. And then the maximum we will see. By now, I don't remember anything else. If I remember, I will let you know in the groups. And you please, you can also make me questions, send me questions in private or in the group. It's okay. Start by now choosing the themes, the classes that you would like to give them. And explain me why when I ask you. You must give me the reason why you would like to choose for a certain theme. And yes, start collecting materials, ideas that you can promote engagement and happiness in your class, okay? And development of the students, okay? This is our goal. I think that's all by now. Thank you very much. Sorry about the training, the internet. My internet was too bad. But yes, I think I made it. This is what I would like to share with you. If you have any doubts, please contact me. See you. I'm happy, really happy with you all.